Okay, for our first activity with Inkscape, we're going to make a flag, and it's the flag of the European Union. So the first thing we do is to set up. We go to File, Document Properties, and all of the specifics of this tutorial are on the link that's associated with this video. But you can look at that in detail. But I'll go ahead and do everything on the screen. So the width is 270 and the height is 180 pixels. Also, I want to add some grids. So instead of this spacing, I want to make it a spacing of 10 and 10. So my X spacing is 10 and my Y spacing is 10. So I say OK and I close that down. So this is a little bit small. So the way that you zoom in is you hold down the control button, and it says right here what button I'm holding down, control, and then use the scroll wheel to zoom on in, and then if you just use the scroll wheel without control, it will move the screen up and down. Okay, that's pretty good. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is create a rectangle for my background. So I click on this icon right here for rectangle, and it should click to the grid. And right now my color is yellow, but I don't want it to be yellow. So what I do is go to Object, Fill and Stroke, and I change this to the values 0. Okay, so it's going to be a blue color. That's green, but I want to go to blue. So 0, 51, and 153 are the values that they give on the tutorial. So this gives a nice dark blue color. Sometimes it'll have a line around it. That is what they call the stroke. And to take that off, you just click on the X. If you want to add it, see there it shows a black line going around, but I don't want that, so I'll click X, and this one is on. See, if I take the fill off, that's what makes it go away. Alright, so that's how that works. Now we want to make some stars, but before I do that, I want to add some guidelines. So what I do to add a guideline is first I make sure that I'm on the arrow tool. This is called the select tool, and I just click in the sidebar and drag over, so this makes a guide for me. And it's not in the spot that I want, but I can just make sure I'm on select, and then I double click, and I want to put it in the middle. So it was 270 pixels long, so my X direction I want to be half of 270, which happens to be 135. And my Y doesn't matter a whole lot. I'm just going to make it 0. And I hit OK. So that put the guide in the middle. And then to make a guide go in the other direction, I need to drag this way and double click. So halfway went 180, so it's pretty close actually, but half of 180 is 90. And my X direction I'll put it 0. Okay, so now I have my grid lines in. Now I want to throw down a star, and I'm going to start with the star in the middle, and then I'm going to move it out. This is a transformation that we're going to do here. So first I click on star, and it could be a polygon or a star, but I want star, so make sure on that. The number of corners will be a 5-pointed star, so it's on 5. And the spoke ratio, this is not that important, but 0.382 is the ratio that you want to make a normal kind of star. The ratio is talking about is the comparison of the distance to the point compared to the distance to the inside corner. So if you had this bigger, you would have a fat star. If you had it smaller, you'd have a skinny star. So what we want though is the 0.38. So to make my star, I click on the center of those two grid lines and go up to that point. So it made a star, but it's right now it's the color blue and it blends into our background, so we have to change the color. So as long as it's selected, then we go over here and we put in our value. So you could, if you want to make something later on, you can just change the color here and you can see how my star is changing to different colors. But to be real precise, I will use 255, 204, and 0 for my RGB values. So that makes a nice yellow looking star. Now, I don't want the star in the middle. I want to make a ring of stars around. That's how the EU flag looks. So to do that, I'm going to copy a bunch of stars. So I'm going to clone, create a clone. So my fast key is Alt D. So I'm going to make one here, but then I'm just going to use the keyboard. So Alt D, Alt D. I'll just make a bunch. So I just pressed it about 15 times, I don't know. And then now I want to move this into location. So there's a bunch of copies on top of each other. That means this shape is congruent to all the other shapes that I just made clones of. But now I want to do a slide transformation. So the way I do that is go to Object, Transform, and this will bring up a little box over here. And so I can move, scale, rotate, and we can just play around with this. Let's see what happens when I scale the width 200. See, it makes it bigger like that, but I'm just gonna hit Control Z to undo. Control Z is your friend with this kind of program. You just undo things. I could rotate the star. Let's say I rotate 30 degrees. Okay, apply. See, it rotated one of those stars. And so I'll do Control Z, undo. Alright, but the main thing I want to do is move. So let's move that star over 60 in the horizontal direction. So what do you think is going to happen? It's going to go over here, right? Apply. Now I need to select this one, and now I want to move how about -60? So that's going to take it in the X direction 60 pixels that way. Alright, and then if I make this a 0 and this is 60, it's going to be 60 in the vertical direction, which where it's going to go up. Oops, I don't want to do that. Control Z. I want to select this one to go up 60, so apply and pick this one to go down 60. Apply. And now I have my 4 ordinal directions, north, south, east, west, if you want to call it that. Now I want to move these. I want to make a ring, so there is a precise mathematical way to figure out the exact middle, but we're not going to have you do that. We already figured it out. So it's 52 is roughly the location in the horizontal and 30 in the vertical, and we're just going to do every combination of 52 and 30 with both positive and negative, and that will give us all the different stars in the right quadrant. Okay, so I'm going to apply, and then let's do negative. Oops, undo. I want to do this one. Apply, and then let's make this one negative. Oops. I'm going to make that mistake a lot. Control C is my Z is my friend. Okay, and positive 30. Okay, so that's all. That would be 52 in the X direction, or 52 negative in the X direction. Now I need to swap them. So let's make this 30, and this one 52. Okay, and then I need to pick that one, apply, that one, and let's do negative, apply, pick that one, let's do this one, negative, apply, and the last one, let's see, needs to be what in the x direction? Needs to be positive x, negative y, so positive x, positive horizontal, negative vertical. Okay. Now I made too many copies, so I just click on that and hit delete and delete. Okay, so I only made 2 extra. So this is the flag that represents the European Union, and it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 stars in a circular pattern, and it's all done by using transformations, mostly just slide, right? We use the move only, we didn't use scale or rotate, so we'll have to look into that for another video.